Hello, Warren. Welcome back to your second edition of Reading Between the Lines. And you might ask yourself, why does this background and outfit look oddly familiar? Well, that's because it is from the first video. Um, I did some of these recordings pretty much back to back. Uh, was reading throughout the weeks, but I just was really iffy on recording, and so then I finally decided that I am going to do it. So here I am looking at my notes. But basically, we're going to start with Levi 1, and so he starts off with defining groups and teams, right? And so I didn't really know that there was like a huge difference. I always just thought they were the same. But when you're describing a group, you're still describing them like with like a purpose, right? Like you don't just like have like a group of people for like no reason. They have to have a reason, to exist. And so you would say, for example, our classroom is a group of people. We're all there to take a class, to pass the test, get an A, and then you have teams within our group, which is like our individual like group project teams, and so like the most important like characteristic of a group is interdependence, like group members like interacting and like communicating with one another. um, and so you do have like social identification from like a group. So you get like you recognize that you are a part of this group, and it kind of like creates like this type of group membership, you could say. Um, so belonging to a group changes like the way you view like the world. Like if you're maybe a part of like a club or any other group, like you do start to um, have like similar ideas like to that group. And so then you have a team, which is like a special type of group, right? So this is more like a smaller number of people like working together on like a project or something, which they are all like accountable for. So this is like more specialized work. For example, our team is a like they would say, let's see, our team is a project team. Yes, so we are basically coming together to perform a task within a defined period of time. So that is us working on a group project, making sure that each person has like their own like role, and then we're all like working together to create like one bigger project. So when we're looking at how we classify teams, um, I would I would kind of say we're more like a self-managing team. Although I would kind of say that we're just like also like a regular team, because if you look at the definition, teams are given power and authority, and like leaders are selected by management. So I would say that you kind of already like elected our leader, which is like our grad student in the group. But then we also do have more like self-managing aspects, because we you did like select a grad student to be in our group, but I feel like naturally us as like a team um, kind of like selected her, Brenda, for example, as our leader. So then like Brenda would like help facilitate this project rather than just like controlling like what we're like supposed to be doing. So yeah, we were totally working together to like create like this project. Um, and then it goes on and saying like why organizations use teams, and so we use teams because the was it the workforce is getting like a lot more complex. They need to be more flexible, and it makes more sense to have a team um, dealing with like these individual like problems or aspects of a job than having like this like big like hierarchy where we just like report to like one person. So you have your traditional approach of scientific management, which is pretty much like very like you can't really have too much of a complex task at hand. And it's really just kind of focusing like on productivity, not really paying attention to like the quality of work. So a team is important because when you're trying to improve like a service or a product, they are like able to like really make these changes because they're all like putting in their skills and stuff um, like into like this project, and then help like you get like a good result from like a team when they are like working together. Um, let's see. We also have um, let's see. The organizational characteristics. So we again are using these teams because of the organizations, the way they're changing so rapidly. Like now in our like nowadays, like it's it's almost as if like you accomplish more with like a group or a team, I should say, than you do like by yourself. So it really motivates people to just work together and pretty much just like have this coordinated like team to really put in like effort in like making like a better like product or something. So then you just have like your history of like the teamwork, where you have the Hawthorne studies, um, which are like examining like how environmental factors affect like work performance, and so group norms also like also control like your performance, because if you're in a group and like the members are creating like this type of norm, um, you end up following that norm to be a part of the group or team, I could say, instead of like uh, being like your own person. So it's interesting because norms do play like a huge role in groups, and so like for example, if you're trying to like work hard and but like people are trying to like slack off, they're gonna like nudge you or something to like knock it off. And so you kind of like you start just getting like all these social norms that form from being part of a group. You also do have the socio-technical systems theory, which is like a way to like look at how people work and determine the best way of how to organize them. Um, and so it's pretty much when you're like using a team to like deal with like some jobs that are like not like very routine, again requiring flexibility and all this other stuff. And again, many jobs today like have that criteria. I thought it was cool because Japanese have been doing this thing called quality circles, which is like a really like good like teamwork like foundation, where you have like the workers and like the supervisors who are like pretty much like working like parallel next to each other and like developing solutions. And again, this is really important because when you're looking at the quality of work and all of this different types of work that you're doing, um, teams just make more sense. And then pretty much it just goes on and tells us about the foundations of like group dynamics and all this other stuff. But pretty much like what I got from this chapter is that teams are pretty much more effective if they're done right, in creating good quality work. And it's also just not looking like, because we have group dynamics, which is not just looking at how the individual like is like affected in a group, but like they're looking at like a group as a whole. So that is my little spiel. I will see you for the next video.